Hey, Pat Rigsby here, and in today's episode, I want to talk with you about the power of audience building. Let's get to it. So, over the past week, I had the opportunity to be in a couple different venues at three different events where audience building really felt incredibly prominent. I don't know about you, but it doesn't matter if I go to a restaurant or a bookstore or an event or whatever else, I'm kind of always taking notice of things and thinking about how they may be relevant in the business world. Just trying to learn. I want to be a good observer and recognize lessons that good or bad that are available to me everywhere. And it was a collection of experiences this past week that really reminded me of the power of audience building. So the first thing I went to, we had a family friend who did a book signing. It was the author and her agent was there, and the the attendance at the book signing was pretty sparse. Now they had just come from a book signing in another market the day prior, and the audience turnout was great. But in this market, it was pretty light, and it just was a testament to the fact that you have to build an audience if you want to do events, launch products, create books, anything like that, and have it really gain traction. I mean, if you think about it, most of the books that make bestseller lists, or at least a lot of them, aren't necessarily because of their literary prowess. It's because it's a name. It's a well-known author. It's a well-known. They have a big platform. They may have a large social media following or large email contingent. So that was a takeaway when we took the author and her agent to dinner. We talked a lot about that. I said, I mean, you need to build an audience of people who are interested in your genre, your style. I mean, the same thing would hold true to the agent for her whole kind of collection of authors. Building an audience means that when you go somewhere, you've already kind of seeded the event with a bunch of people who are interested. And you're only really going to go places where you know that there's some prerequisite interest. And I think that's so important. I think that if you have an audience, it just makes everything easier. It creates more opportunities for you. It creates a better sense of connection. You can learn what people actually do want. I mean, there's so many wonderful opportunities associated with it. And then the next evening, Holly and I went to the President's Gala at the university that I used to work at. And really, while I was there, it was pretty obvious to me a couple things were happening. One was it was a little bit like in my business, we may periodically hold workshops where we do something of value for a one-time fee, but we're also trying to use that as an opportunity to build relationships with the attendees or purchasers of the workshops, where we're saying, hey, you can kind of get to know who we are. You can kind of become more familiar with our brand and see if it's a good fit for you. So we may be able to have some sort of ongoing business relationship. Well, the same thing held true here, right? This event, I mean, there's an investment associated with attending the gala, and they want to raise money for scholarships, which certainly is a noble cause. But at the same time, they're trying to get a bunch of people who are donors or potential donors in the room and then get them excited about initiatives for the university. And one of the main initiatives was to essentially kind of triple the marketing area that the university is trying to serve, to basically go from being a very small region as a focal point to a little bit more than half of a state with 8+ million people, and really become more aggressive in building that audience. And so they found a way to get a lot of people in the room that they believed could help further that cause and invest in the projects that are important to them at the university. But then also talked about, if we want to grow the impact of the university, we have to grow the audience of the university and start reaching out to substantially more people and becoming relevant to them and being seen as a viable option for them as they pursue degrees in a future career. So again, the power of audience building on kind of both sides of that became very relevant. And then finally, the third day, there was a Hall of Fame event that I referenced in a different podcast. And during that event, they talked about a transition in the athletic department to move from the current division to, I guess, probably what you'd consider a more prestigious division that would allow them to position themselves as the only university in the southern half of Ohio at this division level, and use that as a marketing tool again to build an audience, to be able to say we're the only, right, to create more brand awareness, to use that to gain more traction, more credibility, more prestige. And I think there's this common thread that tied all these together, is that it doesn't matter if you run a small business, if you run a university, an athletic department, it doesn't matter what your objective is. You're going to have more opportunities. The bigger your audience is, the more tightly connected you are with them, the more relevant the value providing is to them and their lives. And it just creates so many more opportunities. I mean, whether it's an author trying to really gain her footing or a university trying to expand their reach in a pretty challenging higher education climate, all of it starts with people being aware of you. All of us start out invisible to a whole lot more people than we are visible to, right? You may be paying attention to this podcast now, but there are probably pretty close to 8 billion people on this planet who aren't. And so if you're invisible, the first thing that we have to do is gain visibility. And then if we have visibility, then we have to gain interest. We have to demonstrate that we can provide value to somebody, that we're worth their time, we're worth their attention in some sort of ongoing way. And then once we have that time and attention and they've spent some of that with our brand, then they're equipped to make decisions about how the value we provide may be able to fit into their life. Can we solve their problems, or at least help them solve their problems? Can we help them achieve their goals? And this is essentially universally true. It doesn't matter what your business model is. It doesn't matter what your target market is. It doesn't matter if you're in our industry or if you just happen to have stumbled across this, or you're hear from another industry because you think it might be relevant. Building an audience and then really fostering a relationship with that audience, it's going to help you be more successful regardless of your lane, regardless of your model, regardless of your field. It is going to be a tool that gives you incredible leverage. So if you've not made audience building a priority on a daily basis and you want to see your business really level up and grow, I would encourage you to make that a priority now. It's true for them and it's true for you.